All right, welcome to the Mid-Mod 4 test correction videos. This is question number 1. You can see the directions say multiply or divide. Draw a model to explain your thinking. So we've talked about lots of different ways to solve these. We have to visually express our answer here. I want to point out a couple of things about this. Some of these are just a fraction of a whole number, 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 but these two are a little bit different. Here we're talking about feet, and here we're talking about inches. So if you didn't convert the 2 feet into inches, you're finding, if you found a third of 2, that's not what this question is asking, because there aren't 2 inches and 2 feet. You need to convert first to find your new total of inches. We'll take a look at how to do that. Okay. The questions down at the bottom have parentheses here, which means you have to solve this first to make 14 copies. And over here we're making 13 copies of this. You may not want a tape diagram. You could show this in some different ways, but make sure you've done this first, and then make sure you're doing 13 copies of both the whole number and 13 copies of this fraction. All right, let's take a look at a similar problem to give you some ideas to solve. So we're actually going to start with this one, which is got a whole of 35. So we're finding 35. And then we're finding some fractions here. So first thing I want to think about is how many pieces did we split 35 up into? Well, we split it up into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pieces. So I know that I'm counting fifths of 35. And how many fifths do I want? Well, it looks like the bracketed area here is talking about 1, 2, 3, 3 of those fifths. So 3/5 of 35. Now, we've talked that of is really just another way that we say multiply. So the math I'm doing here is really 3/5 times 35. Well, if I split 35 up into these 5 boxes, I know that I'm going to have 7, 14, 21, 28, 35. And then I only really want this much of it, so that would be 7, 14, 21. So 3/5 of 35 is in fact 21. Now I could use a shortcut here. Let me clear a little bit of space for us to show that shortcut. I could think about rewriting this problem as 3 times 35 over 5, and then shortcut it and say if I split 35 into 5 pieces, this is really becoming 1 and this is 7. You'll notice that that's what happened here. I had a 7 in each of these boxes, and then I want 3 of the 7 boxes. So 3 of the 7 boxes. So this shortcut is just really a connection to this visual, but you do need the visual since it's part of it. Now this is a case where our numbers split evenly between the boxes. Let's actually go and take a look at this one. So I've got 17 is my whole. My whole is worth 17. And I have split this into 1, 2, 3 boxes. So I'm finding thirds of 17. One of the 3 boxes, 1/3 of 17. Now if I go to break 17 into 3 equal pieces, if I skip count by 3, 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, I can't ever get to 17 by counting by 3s. That doesn't mean I can't divide 17 by 3. It just means that I have to make as many whole groups as I can, which in this case is 5. You heard me skip count to 15 before I went over. And then there's 2 pieces left. 2 pieces out of the 3 pieces I'm using. So each box here is really going to be 5 and 2/3. So my amount that I'm looking for is really 5 and 2/3 because I only wanted one of those boxes. Some common errors I saw when I was grading these, if we go back to our first page of our test, is that I saw people didn't draw a model. so I was unable to give them full points. I noticed that some people may not have paid attention to the fact that they needed to count 3 out of the 4 pieces that were in their model, or 2 out of the 5 pieces that were in their model. Um, some people just found the amount that was in one box, and that worked for these two because I have unit fractions here with a 1 on top, but didn't work for these two. Now let's take a look at a problem very similar to E and F, because that was a problem as well. So if I say how many ounces are in half a pound, a lot of kids were like, oh, I'm going to put half up here because that's the only number I see. But that's not really what we want. We want to take that half a pound, we want to take a pound and convert it into ounces. So how many ounces are in 1 pound? Well, I know that there are 16 ounces in a pound. And if I didn't know that, if I didn't know how many inches were in a foot, if I didn't know how many feet were in a yard, I could use my conversion sheet to do that. And once I've got that, I can say, okay, well, 16 is split equally into 8 and 8, and then I need half of that. So half a pound, half of 16 ounces is really 8 ounces. Okay. Good luck with their corrections, and make sure you're working precisely.